3, I don't want it. Getting ourselves in that place, utilizing our mentality, utilizing our abilities inside of who we are, utilizing our focus, knowledge, and discipline. If it's not motivation, if it's not meditation, if it's not inspiration, then what is it? Because I don't want it. So, what challenges are you guys facing off against today? The last few days we had quite a few people who hopped in there and were a part of the chat. You can reach me on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, podcasts as well. And let's get into it. So, when we're looking at what we're facing off against on a daily basis, we start to notice that the challenges that we're facing off against, they come from many different angles. They come from angles within your profession, within your homes, and they come from within your mentality. And so, how do we start getting down with our mentality? How do we start getting down with the ability inside of ourselves to vibrate that kind of place? And it's inside of that place that we're always seeking. It's inside of that place that we're looking for stability and for the ability for us to be who we are on the inside. And it's on a daily that we're seeking it out. And it's not going to happen in one day. It takes time. It takes your ability to be who you are on the inside and to start to focus on overcoming your challenges. And each of us has challenges. We have things and we have places that we seek to go and that we want to achieve. And what are some of those things that you're seeking out today? What are they that you want to overcome? I look at this on a daily basis as a reminder that we all go through challenges, that we all have things that we're working on and we're working to overcome. And when we're sitting inside of ourselves and we're sitting inside of our mentalities, what is it that we're achieving? What is it that when you sit down with you start to feel? We start to put yourself into. And how do you start to overcome it? And I often do these videos to prepare myself for meditation, to prepare myself for getting to the place where the ability inside starts to open up. And it's inside of ourselves that we are seeking a place of centering. Like what does that mean to be centered? What does it mean to sit down for a little bit by yourself on a daily and to start to get inwards and to start to use what you have inside and start feel peace inside of yourselves. And it's inside of that place of who we are that we're seeking growth. And it's almost like opening up the place of focus inside of ourselves opens up many pieces of who we are. It opens up many parts of what we can achieve. And I sit here on a daily and and I recognize that it's not easy. And are we doing that though? Are we truly changing lives and becoming something in the world that's worth it? Like, how do you start to do that? I do this on a daily basis. And my Facebook group is now at 1,200 plus members. And so what motivation, meditation, inspiration is starting to get known. And people are starting to want to hear more about it. And it's that message that I ask myself every single day when I was in a place of difficulty, when I was in a place where I felt like giving up, and inside of that part, inside of ourselves, we start to ask those types of questions. Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And so, what are we doing today to inspire ourselves? What are we doing today to bring ourselves closer to the ability for us to be who we are? And what are we doing today that, is what you want to achieve? Like, I I seek out that place inside, and it's the reason why I sit down and I do breath work, because when we get inside of ourselves, when we get inside of our challenges, when we truly sit down and we start to put in the time, we start to get to the place where we're focusing. See what I'm saying? What does it take for you to focus? What does it take for you to, pick up a book, or to write a couple pages, or to, I just wrote down a new goal for myself is to run out every day for 30 minutes starting on Monday, and run back for 30 minutes, to get the exercise going, to get, the physical part of ourselves going. Do we do those types of things? Do we prepare our day with what we want to put in our systems? Do we create a kind of vibration from what we are, from the energy that we are, the mentalities that we have? And I am seeking that part inside, and I would like you guys to join me along this journey inside. I'd like for you all to see that you're worth it, that your abilities inside of yourself and inside of your mentality is worth it. And how do we start to study when things are not working perfectly around us? How do we start to get inside of who we are and inside of our mentality to be who we are on the inside? And I look I look at this today. I look at this from a place where it is who we are. Okay, to challenge our focus. It is who we are to want to feel like other people can do it for you, and it's not inside of other people to do it for you. It's like, you know when you pick up a book and you sit down and you read a book, it's you sitting down reading that book. It's you sitting down and getting to that place inside of yourself where you start to become your best friend. And is that sitting down and reading that book, is it for somebody else or is it for you? See, when you extract the knowledge, like for instance, this book is called Happiness in the Home, um, and it's by Gretchen Rubin. And so this is a book that I've been working on reading, and I highly suggest learning and sitting down a little bit and using the gifts and the skills that you have. And I was just asked a question here. We talk about motivation, meditation, and inspiration on this channel. So I was just asked a question on, you know, on Periscope. And so when we're sitting down inside of ourselves, are we truly using those kind of self-study skills? Are we utilizing the parts of who we are? Are we preparing ourselves to have that kind of place inside of ourselves where the mentality opens up? Why do I always talk about mentality? Why do I always talk about the ability to believe in yourself? The ability to not compare yourself to somebody else, and the reason why is because I've come to realize that when we're comparing ourselves to other people, then that is when we never have the ability to utilize who we are. We don't have the ability to find our own gifts and our own talents. And when you're not comparing yourself to other people, when you're not trying to be like somebody else, when you're not trying to overcome challenges by, other people's viewpoints, when you look within you, when you utilize what you have inside of yourself, and you're utilizing what you have inside of your ability, when you're focusing to that place inside of who you are, where it doesn't matter what other people say or other people do, because you're going to still be you. When you focus at that level, when you give yourself that place inside of who you are, when you give yourself that place inside of your ability, inside of your being, inside of your focus and your purpose, it opens you up to amazing things. And amazing people start showing up only when you start believing in yourselves, only when you start getting to the part inside of you where you are, where your abilities have no bearings to be stopped by, where you can see your goals, where you can see your challenges, where you can see who you are. And it's inside of that we start to become who we are. And that's the reason why focusing and utilizing your mentality is so important. Utilizing your ability inside of who you are. And that's the reason why I truly enjoy to sit down and do breath work, because when I'm sitting down doing breath work, I'm in a place of focus that's still. I'm in a place where the energy is coming from within. It's radiating outwards, where we truly are inside of our mind, inside of this thing that is us. And I look inside of that thing every day, and I really enjoy the videos that I do and the community that is being built, and that is utilizing this in their way, and in their abilities in their days. When I was working for Chrysler, and I remembered when I first started taking notes, and I started seeing things, and I started to put those things in front of me, and I started to take control of the time, and I started to realize that if I controlled my time, then the ability for me to maximize my ability within would start to happen. And so here I am in front of you all. Here I am grinding again today. Here I am at this thing, working to focus on manifesting, those type of things from within ourselves, within our mentalities, and it's on a daily that we do that. And like yesterday was a reminder, when people start to get on and they start to hear this message, and it starts to uplift them, and it starts to bring them closer to themselves, and bring them closer to their ability, and to their person that they are on the inside. And it's when we are doing that we have the ability to focus to that point. It's when you're in your place, and in your fields, and in your professions, that what your focus has steadiness. It has, it's when, I remember in high school I used to lift weights, and then after I lift weights I would weld, and my hands would be all shaky. And so I would weld when they were shaky, because I wanted to steady it. I wanted to calm the storm within. I wanted to get to the place where the heat wasn't greater than the ability inside. And so, are we doing that today? Are we doing that when others would say you can't. You see what I'm saying? And are we doing that when, you know, our bodies are exhausted, or our minds are exhausted, or are we still continuing then? And that's when the foundation and focus starts to become a reason. It's when things are not working for you that this true storm starts to become stilled. It's when you're calm inside of the storm. And it's interesting that sometimes we see the eye of the storm. We see the eye of the challenges that we're facing off against. And are we taking that time to be calm? Are we taking that time to center ourselves, to center our mentality, to center our abilities within who we are? And are we there inside? Are we focusing to that point? Are we utilizing the things that we truly have? Are we utilizing the things that truly matter? And so that is why I recognize that what we write down matters. Okay, and when we're sitting in front of the things that we want to achieve, when we're sitting in front of the things that we're looking to overcome, and when we're sitting in front of the things that other people would call impossible, it's when those things start to become possible. you know and it's inside of the mentality when it opens up that others start to see that. And I see this across the face of the planet. I have my motivation, meditation, inspiration, and daily I see people that are looking there, and I see the traffic from around the world that views from here to Japan to Ukraine, to other places around the world, Brazil, Portugal, Spain. I see you guys, okay? And I want you to know that when you focus and you put yourself into the things that you sign up to do, and that you focus to that point where you utilize what you have inside, when you're truly utilizing your mentalities, when you're utilizing your abilities, that you have the ability to do amazing things. So you got to allow positivity from the universe to flow. You got to allow that positivity in your mentality, even in your challenges. Search for the best possible outcome. Search for that best possible mentality to become positive, to allow those things that aren't meant for you to move out of their way, to allow the person that you are inside to open up and to be who you are. And you see, I sometimes struggle with that because I want to, be that person, and each of us can seek out that person inside of ourselves. And it's not just when you're achieving it, okay? It's not when other people are saying it. It's when you see it for yourself, and I hear this quite often. I hear this in a lot of places where we're seeking out things in other places that are not bringing us closer to who we are. It's not bringing us closer to the person that we are inside. And so how do we start to do that? How do we start to utilize those kind of gifts? How do we start to utilize that kind of mentality? And I look within, and I seek it on a daily, and so I prepare myself every day by doing these videos, by sharing with the stories that that bring me closer to that. And I want to inspire you the same way. I want to um, let you see what it takes to get there. Like, I really enjoy when you guys follow my journey. I really enjoy when you guys um, start to believe in yourselves and your abilities within who you are, and leave comments, leave messages. It's a community. It's not always easy, and I I see this on a daily. I see that when other people start succeeding, I see that when other people start to hear this kind of a message, and they start to believe in themselves, and they believe in their ability. And I look at it in a sense where when we're focusing, we get to overcome the challenges. When we're going through things, and we're you know putting ourselves on that page where what we have inside matters. And what is it that matters to you? What is it that matters inside of you? It's inside of that place, inside of who we are, that it starts to open up. And it's inside of our being that we start to see it's worth it. And I seek out that place on a daily basis to find that kind of heat to make it worth it on the inside, to find that kind of place where we can focus to that point where other people can see it too for themselves. And I'm not just talking, I'm telling you, when you're waking up every day and you're doing videos and you're getting out there and you're speaking your mind, it's not always easy. And what is it that you're speaking your mind about? You know, are you going within? Are you hearing yourselves? Are you seeing that what you're facing off against you can achieve? And I look within, and I see that focus. And I want to inspire you guys to see that focus within yourselves, to find a place where you're asking yourself the question, is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? And how do we start to do that? Can anybody leave a comment? And because I know of writing stuff down, I know of speaking stuff out, I know about reading and sitting down in a place where you center yourself, and working with breath work, and with other parts of connecting with the breath to body, with the body to breath, to singing, to writing, to putting ourselves in a place where we start to become artistic. And when we're focusing at that level, when we're using what we have inside, that's when the universe starts to work. Okay? It's when your energy, what is it that you're putting your energy into? What is it that you're zeroing in on that nobody else can do? Like, how are you going to find that unless you try? How are you going to find that unless you get down with you, and you sit inside of who you are, where you start to see that you're worth it? And I sit down on a daily focusing to that point. I sit down inside of who I am to do that, to to be who we are on the inside. And it's inside of that place of mentality that you know I seek to share with you. I seek to share the stories and the abilities inside of who we are, that we're worth it, that what we face off against, doesn't have the ability to stop us. And I would like to inspire you all to believe in yourselves, to believe in your abilities, to know that when you focus, you can become who you want to be. And if you put yourself in a place where you utilize that part inside of yourself, then you will overcome your challenges. You will find a way when there isn't even a way. And so I spend that time on a daily grinding to that level. I get up in the morning to do my meditation, after I do my videos, and I'm seeking out that kind of a place, and I want you to recognize that within yourselves. It comes from self growth. It comes from self reflection and self understanding that when you do achieve your dreams, when you do achieve your goals, that it's going to be from within you. And I I spend that kind of time sharing that because the things that I've been through, the challenges that I faced off against, I would not wish upon anybody. You see what I'm saying? And so, are we able to recognize that? Are we able to sit down and to start to focus to that point where we want to inspire everybody? See what I'm saying? So, how motivated are you guys today? Share your comments below and on these multiple platforms, and what is it that it really drives you to focus. Some of us might be in school, and we might be going through things and using the skills and the gifts that we have. So are we able to do that? And are we able to utilize our mentalities? Are we able to utilize our abilities inside of who we are? And are we focusing to that point? Are we focusing to that ability? Are we giving ourselves permission to be who we are on the inside? And it's when we do that it matters. Yeah, it's when we facing off against challenges. They're going to come up against all of us. There's not a single person on the face of the planet that wakes up without challenges. Sometimes they're seeing the simplest of the challenges. They're seeing the things that inside of ourselves that we can focus on, and the things that we want to overcome, and that others wouldn't even believe were possible. And I look at that part of ourselves. I look at that part of our ability. I look at when we face off against challenges, what is it truly that we're facing off against? And a lot of people, they want to seek it elsewhere instead of inside of themselves. They want somebody else to fill that space and to fill that void. And it's only when you feel that void that the ability inside of yourself starts to vibrate. It's when that ability inside of your mentality starts to open up, and it's not just for one of us. It's not just for a single person. That opening up your mentality is for everybody. And and I enjoy talking about focus, because when we focus, we give ourselves that ability to use the gifts that we have. When we're truly focusing, the person inside of who you are starts to open up. And when you're truly focusing, the person inside of your mentality starts to overcome your challenges. And it's when we're achieving that we start to feel free. Okay, when we start to feel alive, when we start to feel who we are on the inside. And it's when we are doing that we see ourselves for who we are. We see ourselves for the one that we are inside. And when we're doing that and we're seeing that person on the inside, that's when self-growth starts. Okay, and it takes you being that kind of a student to where you see the positive things in your life, and you start to see the positive abilities of believing in yourself. And I look at that on a daily. I recognize that it's not always going to be easy. It's not meant to be either. And as I'm sitting here, as I'm utilizing that kind of mentality inside of myself, and I would hope that this would hit that nerve inside of you to believe in yourselves, to believe in your ability, to believe in your mentality, to believe that you're worth it, and that you can achieve your dreams, and that your goals can become possible. You see, when people ask me about how to meditate, they're ultimately seeking out themselves. They're seeking out their ability inside of who they are. And I guess Gemma joined us too. And when we're seeking out that person inside of ourselves, when we're seeking out that person inside of our mentality, inside of our ability, it's when we're using our gifts, when we're truly using that part of who we are on the inside, that it starts to open up. Okay, and are we doing that though? Are we truly finding that part of ourselves? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's realistically what you're seeking out already exists within you. It exists within your mentality. And you see, when we go into that dark tunnel, that place where those emotions lay, where those fears and those pains lay, they lay in a part of you that is meant to open up. It's meant to decompress those emotions, and it's meant to overcome, and it's meant to not have the ability to stop you from mental clarity, from mental ability inside of who you are. And it's when we're doing that other people start to notice you for you. And what is it that makes you unique? Each person out there needs to seek that part of themselves that makes them them. And it doesn't happen unless you give yourself that ability. And when you start to see that kind of light inside of yourself start to light up, sometimes we see that kind of inner light as a smile outwards. A lot of people start to see you smile even when you're not smiling. And it's because when you decompress the things, when you start to believe in yourself, when you start to see yourself as beautiful, okay? When you start to see yourself in a light that other people might not be able to, and when you're clocking in every day and you're starting to believe in yourself that it's worth it. I I want you to see that for you. When you believe in yourself and you believe in your ability, that it becomes possible. So, how do you start? You know, can it be sitting down like my friend here who reads cards and reads you know stars, and or is it like my friend who sings, or is it like myself who sits down and does breath work, right? What is it that makes you you? What is it, that when you're doing these things, that you're in a place of peace, when you're in this kind of place where you're believing in yourself, that your ability starts to open up. And you know when do you start to get there for you? um, you know I remember when I first started doing meditation, feeling like I can't do it. I can't sit down and do breath work. And I remember being in a place where, sometimes it was very shaky. I remember having to face off against the emotions and, what about this and what about this insecurity? See what I'm saying? And when we're using the things and the gifts that we have the ability to overcome those things. And it and it's when we're doing that for ourselves, when we're literally finding who we are inside is worth it. And it that we find that light. Yeah. So how are you becoming that kind of student in your life? Do we even spend just a little bit of time on ourselves? you know do we spend a little bit of time believing in who we are, that you know that it's worth it? And I see that on a daily. It reminds me to pick up a book and to read about happiness in the home. To inspire other people is to have learned from the lessons that you've gone through. Hearing what I'm saying? You can inspire other people by being you. When you start to achieve things that other people would say is impossible, when you start to use your gifts, when you start to use your abilities, when you start to use your mentality, when you start to use your knowledge within yourselves, when you know that you can do that. Like when I'm doing energy readings and a person comes and says, "Wow, you're dead on." And it's because I'm not surprised. All I'm doing is sharing the same thing that we're a part of, the universe. Using that kind of knowledge inside of ourselves, that we're a part of this whole entire great big thing together. Are we seeing that part? Are we connecting with those kind of people that are bringing us closer to ourselves, that are bringing us closer to our abilities within who we are? And asking yourself, what type of people are you having around you? And I seek out that place on a daily. And it's when we're doing that that other people start to see your meditation. Hear what I'm saying? Meditation is just a word. What you're doing, the action of sitting down and using your breath or singing it out or putting the energy into the place is what really matters. What they call it is just a reflection. So when they sit there and they see me in lotus pose or, for an hour straight without barely budging or getting to the point where the nervous system becomes hijacked or the energy inside starts to happen, recognize that all I'm doing is going inwards. It's amazing that a friend of mine, she said, you don't really express yourself much because you go inwards. And it is difficult for me to express my own feelings. It is difficult for me to express who I am on the inside because I have found that the person inside is my best friend. Have you found that best friend inside of yourselves? Have you found that best friend inside of that storm? And when do you start to give yourself that place to find that best friend? Where, I know that each of us face off against challenges. I know that this universe was created for you and I, and that when we become a blessing in this universe, that it affects other people. That when we use the gifts that we have inside, ripples are left. That when we're sitting inside of who we are and when we're shaking and we're saying to ourselves, I don't know if this is possible, where is your mentality then? So spending time being patient with yourself is super important. Spending time being who you are on the inside is super important. Spending time believing in yourself and believing in your abilities and it is important. And so are we doing that? Are we taking the importance to be who we are, to be the person that we are inside, to utilize that part of ourselves? So here I am again. Throughout time, people come and they ask me questions. They seek out advice on what they should do and how they should do things. And I look at my life's experiences and I look at the things that I've gone through personally, and I see the writing around, I see the writing within, I see the ability, and I recognize what separates me from other people. And I sit down on a daily and I put my time into that, I put my energy into that. And it's on a daily that we are grinding, my friends. Okay? So let's get to that place where knowledge and focus lays. When people see you as an inspiration, what they're really seeing is what you're focusing into. What they're really seeing is that you can overcome it. They're seeing that you can do it, that you're worth it, that you have what it takes within you. And so if we yet but apply ourselves to our days, if we apply ourselves to our ways, if we yet but spend time inside of who we are, then it will show itself outwards. It will show itself in the values within who we are. It will show itself within your mentalities, and a lot of the people who become ripples within the universe. You know, the legends that we call them are using their focus and their knowledge. They're connecting themselves to a place where they become the discipline, where they become the connection, where they become who they are on the inside, and they start to utilize those kind of gifts. They start to utilize those kind of abilities, and are we able to do that? You know, I would believe if they can, you can too. And so if we can start to notice that, if we can start to get to the last part to become that kind of an inspiration, and if we can get to that part of ourselves where we open up to the gifts in the universe, where we open up to the abilities in the universe, to where we believe in ourselves. You know, we believe in our abilities, we believe in our mentalities and our disciplines, that we can create a more beautiful world for us all to live in. And, you know, it's easy to say that, and it's the reason why there's only so many people that do achieve that is because it takes that. You know, it takes a unique type of person to become disciplined. It takes a unique type of person to become the best in their fields, you know, to elevate their mentality to a place where, you know, a higher elevation of vibration lays, you know, and it's when we're doing that that we find joy. Some of these come in times when we're laughing, and some of these come in times when we see the joy around us, or we see it within us, and you know it's up to you to want it for yourselves. You hearing what I'm saying? The universe, it only yields to that person, and when it yields to that person who's using their whole discipline, when it speaks 1,000 words, or it writes 1,000 songs, or reads 1,000 books, you know, it's to that level of discipline, or breathes 1,000 breaths, or 10,000, or 20,000, or you know, I mean, I literally have almost 10,000 hours in meditation. Okay, we're talking about 365 days a year for a minimum of 1 to 2 hours a day of meditation for 8 years. So, what I'm talking about today is that kind of mastery. I'm talking about that kind of ability to be able to see others struggling and to know how to help them, and to help them to grow, and to help them to utilize their ability inside of who they are, and their ability inside of their being. And you know, there have been times where meditation has gotten so much to where it's an exercise. You know, it starts to become a part of who we are. And you know, yeah, so I am part Portuguese. So but when we utilize that part of our mentality to achieve a place where discipline lays, you know, what does it take for you to achieve it? What does it take for you to believe in yourself to that point? You know, I I will want you to see it for you. Okay? You know, and I see these people that are joining and that are part of motivation, meditation, inspiration, and I am enjoy to see their growth. I am enjoy that, our group has reached, you know, 1,230 members, and I look at all of you out there, and I look at myself as a part of a greater knowledge, a greater purpose, a greater path, a greater journey. And, you know, I want to inspire you to see that journey for yourselves, to overcome those challenges inside of you, to see the blessings that you are. You hearing what I'm saying? I want you to see yourself as a reflection of inspiration. It's not enough to want to become disciplined for yourself. You want to become disciplined that you might become a gift within the universe, that the words that you speak or write or sing, or the gifts that you have, can be used in a way for humanity. You hearing what I'm saying? When we achieve that place inside of ourselves where we can believe to that level, then our gifts start showing up. Then the things that aren't meant for you die and they move out of the way on their own. And it 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 happens just a step by step, one piece of knowledge at a time, one ability after another, one mentality after another. It's inside of ourselves that we seek it, and I I'm here to tell you it's possible. I'm here to tell you that if you believe in yourself, and if you believe in your abilities, that you can overcome challenges. Okay? And I'm here to tell you that when you believe it, it can be done, that you can achieve amazing things, that you can do things that, other people might not say are possible. And I see that on a daily as I'm doing it, as I'm sitting here. It was so interesting. I saw this guy. He was going through people and asking them. So, they had all these nice cars and stuff, and first one walks up to it's a Lamborghini, and girls in the car, old lady, says to him, "So what do you do for a profession?" Right? She says, "I I'm 93." That was the end of the question. Okay? What knowledge and experience do you have from your years of your life? And he walks up to another guy, and he's got a $2.2 million car, and he asks him, "So what do you do?" And the guy goes, "I'm a YouTube. I do YouTube." You know, what do you do? What is it that makes you you? And what is it that really makes you unique and brings the universe out from within you? And and I look at this thing, and it's all I got, my friends. This is what it is for me. What is it for you that brings out you? What is it that brings the experiences, the knowledge, the discipline that you have inside of yourselves? Like, it's that part of ourselves that brings me joy to wake up every day. You might see the smile or on the face that I have. Do you see the work that I put in to get there? Do you see the weeks, the months, the years that I'm on these channels, or and it just shows me that it is inspiring for me to see a YouTube or with a $2.2 million car. You hearing what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be there one day too. And it isn't for me, because I want to help out other people. I want you to see your light too. I want to see your ability inside of you, your ability inside of your growth, your ability inside of your mentality open up to you. I want your discipline to reflect outwards, that you be able to have those kind of things for yourself as well, and in every kind of way, every kind of universal wealth, family, professions, homes. I want you to see that for yourselves, and I look at it like I'm just sitting there going, you inspire me. You hearing what I'm saying? I know that you sat down and you did that until you achieved that for you. And I'm sitting down here and I'm doing the same exact thing, and I'm using the same exact kind of mentality, the same exact kind of abilities that other people have too inside of themselves. But are they applying it? Are they becoming that disciplined that they can do it? And that they can use their gifts, their talents, their abilities, their mentalities, that they might be a strength within the universe to leave a ripple. I often refer to Bruce Lee, but there's people that still go to Bruce Lee's grave. You know why? Because the things that he did, the things that he spoke, the abilities and the mentality that he utilized is leaving ripples. The knowledge is still here, and it's still a vibration. And that is why it's left such ripples that people go visit even today. Are you doing that with your journey? Are you taking this great gift that you are you using that ability inside of yourselves that you have, that focus and that knowledge, that process of being you, that energy that flows inside of you? Are you able to utilize that? And it's interesting because people will call in and ask for energy readings, and then when it's dead on, which it is, because I sit down and grind on it daily, when they see it for themselves, when they're like, wow, when they start to understand that I recognize this is what I'm meant to do, okay? And what is it that you're meant to do? What is it that inspires you to be you? What is it that brings out that last piece of the question that I ask every day myself? Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And you see, reason why I ask that last piece is because not only do I need inspiration, but what about yourselves? What about the person that you are inside? What about the abilities that it takes for you to be you? And it's inside of who we are that person is, and it's inside of that kind of place. What is it that inspires you? Leave comments here. Let's inspire each other. Let's create a community of people that inspire each other, that uplift each other, that use our focus, our knowledge, our gifts, our mentalities. Let's create that kind of a community. Let's start creating that kind of an ability. And I really enjoy those that like to get involved in the conversation, get involved in the ability to sit down and to start to look at how we can overcome challenges, and how we can be who we are on the inside, and how we can believe in ourselves. And you see, I sit here on a daily in front of you telling you, as I sit here, we're all growing. As we sit here, we are all seeking. As we sit here, we are always utilizing our knowledge, our focus, our discipline, Are you becoming focus beyond focus, knowledge beyond knowledge, discipline beyond discipline? And what is it that you truly want to grind on? Well, I guess we just hit the 1 hour mark there. So, you know, I see you guys out there. You know, I enjoy the conversations. You guys are welcome to call in. You know, you're welcome to reach out and to leave a comment here, and you know, leave a part of yourself, that your story, to ask questions, to sit down inside of you and start to ask those types of parts of you if it's worth it, you know. And I'm doing that right here for you. So it's wonderful to have that kind of time, you know. And so I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I'm going to try to set up some meditation on the floor here. We'll do about an hour of meditation. You know, hopefully you guys can join me, get into that motivation, meditation, and inspiration. Let's see if we can get this thing set up while we're still live here. Just give me a moment. Meditation is a really special thing, because when we sit down in meditation, when we sit down and we spend that kind of time on ourselves, the ability inside of ourselves starts to open up. And, you know, the community that I created is motivation, meditation, and inspiration. And so when I share meditation with you guys, I'm realistically showing you how to meditate. You know, and when we're sitting down inside of meditation, we're ultimately becoming a teacher of our lives, yeah? So let's go ahead and sit down here. Taking a minute to go ahead and set everything up, you know. And we start to ask the questions of ourselves, yeah? All right, here we go. Place. So, one of the most important parts about meditation is that you find the place inside of yourself where you become a student of your life. And through doing so, you start to believe in you. And when you start believing in yourself, you start connecting with the simplicity inside of who you are. Go ahead and set this for an hour. Just take me a moment here. Okay. For all of you that say it's not possible to sit in lotus for an hour, watch.
After you finish this, we're going to need to talk because there's stuff that needs to be done during the day, and they need your help. And you're here doing this.